If I'm honest, I've felt frustrated with my photography for a while now. I shoot products and portraits mostly, and a lot of that is in studio, obviously with strobes. But I've become pretty familiar with the things that I do every day, the little bits, and how I do it. And it worries me that I can almost get through a shoot sometimes on autopilot. That, I kind of know what I'm doing, and I get to the end, and it's almost like changing gears on a car. How many gears did I change in the last 5 minutes? I can't really remember. I just kind of went through it. And it's beginning to worry me that if I stay in a groove like that, I'm not going to be challenged in my photography anymore. I'm just going to hide away in a corner, and I'm not going to grow anymore. So I don't want to be the kind of photographer who just kind of sleepwalks through it. So I decided to pack my car, put in my camera gear, and throw in some clothes, and I came here to Snowdonia. Just arrived at my little spot for the next few days, and I thought I'd show you because it's pretty sweet. It's called an eco pod, and this is her. How cute is that? It's basically just right on the riverfront. Look at that, with the Welsh mountains behind the trees. But let me show you inside. So, it's really warm in here, you can't feel, so I'm going to tell you. Very cute little kitchen. Like all your basics. And then, like I said, beautiful view. And then, little TV. And then a bed which folds away into a couch, but I can't see myself doing that very much. And then this very cute little bathroom. Now, I'm not a professional landscape photographer. And this couple of days could be a total fail. I could come away with nothing good to show for it, or worse, I could come away with images which I think are good, but when I post them online, professional landscape photographers are looking and tearing them to shreds because they're not great and I couldn't tell. And there's a lot of ego wrapped up in that. I think when you're a professional photographer, you're really worried about posting anything online you can't control to every degree. You don't want to risk anymore. And I remember back when I was starting out in photography and I just got a camera, I was so excited to shoot anything, and I learned fast because of it. I'd throw my camera in my car and drive and shoot landscapes or people or street or just friends, events, a barbecue, it didn't matter what it was. And there was so much creativity in that. And people were always excited to see the shots, maybe because their expectations are low. But there's got to be a way to keep the creativity going, and maybe all it takes is for me to put my ego aside and to say, well, maybe people will look at these and raise an eyebrow because they're not brilliant, and I haven't shot them in studio under the normal lighting that I usually use, and there's no consistency, and they can see I'm experimenting. But at the end of the day, who cares? I'm making sure that this thing which I love, photography, stays fresh for me. So it's 5:30 in the morning. I was up at 5, and I mean, you hear this all the time. The photographer's game is kind of getting up when you think the light's going to be good, which is obviously before sunrise and right up to sunset. Try and find a spot and wait it out and hope the magic happens. Unfortunately, I mean, this is what I've chosen. I came up here last night and had a look, and it's got this beautiful view over this dam here, and I'm all set up ready to go, and it's very cloudy. So there are breaks in the cloud like up there, so I'm thinking maybe if I get lucky and just get a clear spot, maybe we'll get some light coming through. But then again, what they don't tell you is you could sit here and, you've woken up at 5 in the morning and hiked all the way up this mountain, and nothing's going to happen. It's just going to be cloudy. But that's why I suppose that's what the game is. So I'm going to hang out here for about an hour and just see what happens. Maybe it's a good time maybe now's a good time I can show you this app which I've been finding really helpful. It's called Sun Surveyor, and what it does, if you can see, is it gives me a compass view, obviously with the sunrise and then the arc to sunset like this, so I can line it up with the horizon. And this is what I've done this morning, is line it up with the horizon and work out, okay, I want the sun rising over the dam there. And can you see in the back there, just before 6 o'clock, it should come up through that gap there somewhere. So that's going to help me as you rotate round, you can see, and then the sun sets down that side there. So with sunrise at 5:41, which is in 6 minutes, it's kind of showing me exactly where I need to be standing. It's also got quite a cool function here, which won't work right now because being on the top of a Welsh mountain, there is no phone signal, but that you can have live view on your camera as well. So you can have a look through and actually line up the mountain with the camera and see exactly where the arc of the sun will come through, which is quite nice. But it's time to do some waiting and see what we get. This amazing location. If you take a look right by this brilliant old tower here, and this crazy valley in the background, and there's a beautiful dam running through it as well, some quite moody skies. So I'm going to set up and shoot here, and I thought this might be a good opportunity just to show you what sort of setup I'm using, and a little bit of the thinking around what I'm hoping to do with it anyway. So I'm shooting on my Canon 5D Mark II with the 24-105 lens on it. It's just a great run and gun lens for all this kind of stuff. There's a circular polarizing filter on the front of it just so I can clear up my sky as well, and I've made sure on this lens as well to turn off the image stabilization, which is just on the side here. And the reason for that is that I've found that it often hunts in the middle of shots, even if it's on a tripod, and I'm going to be doing some stitching of images together, and if it's hunting slightly between the different shots I'm taking, it's harder to stitch, it's harder to put shots over the top of each other, so I've turned that off. And the other essential bit of kit for this kind of thing as well is the trigger release. And obviously the reason for this is that I don't want to knock the camera every time I'm taking a shot, so I want to be able to hold like this and take a shot without actually moving the camera at all. What I'm trying to do is, or this is what I'm thinking I'm trying to do anyway, and it's really a bit of an experiment for me, is I want to bracket my exposures, but I also want to stitch. And the reason for that is I'm trying to think, okay, I want as wide a shot as possible of this valley, and probably everywhere I'm going because I can crop in later. And I want as much information as I can get, both in dynamic range but also in terms of megapixels in the image. So for every landscape shot I'm taking 9 shots. And best way to think of it is this. So you can see that I've got my camera set up in portrait orientation, and for every shot there are 3 unique shots I want to take with each, and that's, so I'd start on the left, 1 shot, 2 shots, 3 shots, and as I stitch those 3 images together, I'm getting 3 times the amount of information, and I can basically blow this image up huge, obviously all those megapixels from those 3 shots all together. But for each of these 3 shots, I'm taking 3 shots within this as well, with bracketing. A lot of you know what that is, some of you won't. Bracketing is basically, I'm going to take one of those shots, say the first shot on the left there, 2 stops underexposed, 1 shot properly exposed, 1 shot 2 stops overexposed. And the reason for that is that I want as much latitude as I can in terms of the detail, from all the highlights to the shadows, from the brightest white on the cloud to the darkest shadow in the bushes at the bottom of the valley. So the way that you do that is, it's as the shot that's overexposed, as you bring it into Lightroom and you add it to the shot that's properly exposed, it's going to take all that shadow detail in the overexposed shot and add it to that middle shot. And the same for the underexposed shot. It's going to take all that cloud detail that might have got lost in the properly exposed shot and add it back in. And in Lightroom, it's the HDR function in Lightroom has come along quite a long way. And if you make sure you turn off the auto toning function so you don't get that crazy HDR look, it just means that all that information is available to you in the edit as you start to pull the information back. So that's my thinking. I've got this amazing location, and I guess it's time to start shooting. So it is the mountains in Wales, and obviously it's going to rain or sleet or whatever this stuff is. But I found a really helpful app to kind of be able to work out what the weather's going to do in the next short period. And this app I found is pretty accurate. It's called Dark Sky. And if you can see what it does there, you can see it gives you this little bouncing graph, which gives you the kind of intensity of rainfall. And that's just over the next hour. So it is going to be raining for the next hour, but I can see if I look down just below there, it says that it should be clearing up at about 7:15, 7:15, 7:45, which could be perfect actually, because the sun's due to set at 8:15, so that might mean I get the last half hour, 40 minutes of golden hour. So fingers crossed, I'm kind of lined up at the end of this valley where I want to be. I know the sun's going to set at the end, and really all I need is a nice break in the clouds, but until then, it's going to sit and ride out the storm. Been an amazing couple of days, and it's just helped me fall in love with photography again. I still don't know if I've got anything good. I'll have to wait till I get home and throw stuff on the computer to see. I've really just shot. I mean, at times it's been like a meditation. I've sat in the car for 3 hours at a stretch, hoping the weather would clear or the sun would come out from behind the clouds so it would do something interesting with the light. And at times I've got nothing then either. I've just had to drive away because it didn't. It just stayed miserable because it's Wales, and sometimes it does that. I mean, imagine doing that for a client. You know, I was there for 3 hours to shoot, but I didn't take a photograph because I just didn't feel it. We don't have that luxury to be that creative. But I've kind of made the deal with myself now that I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to regularly go away, or just do something different with my photography that I'm not comfortable with, and I don't know how it'll work out, and I can't control the results, because it takes it away from just being busyness photography, business photography, to back to an art form and creativity, and it reinvigorates it. It takes it from being stagnant and safe, and where you feel like, oh, I've mastered this, but you might have lost the mystery of it, you know? So that's something that I'm going to build regularly into my life from this point on. And my challenge to you is do the same. Find a way to shoot something within photography that you are totally not comfortable with, just for the sheer joy of creating again, and see where it takes you.